I think you guys can see me. Hey guys, thanks for joining. And Janelle, if you're there, shoot me a text message so I know that you're here and watching. This is my first time using a Google Hangout, so we're gonna find out if it's working. All right, cool, thanks Janelle. This is a little different, so I wasn't sure if you guys could see me here. And there's so many options for me to play with as far as the chat box goes and things like that. So I'm just gonna keep it really simple for you guys and go over the material for today. So thanks for joining. I'm really excited because this Christmas was so different for me and this whole year was so different for me. And thanks for everyone that's texting me that you can see me. I'm happy. This Christmas was really different for me because I've learned so much about myself and about my life and about my future this year. And I feel partially responsible for the coaches on my team. And I know how much we all grow personally with our life and our business, you know, financially, physically, all the above. So I really wanted to think of a way how I could pay it back to you guys, because if you think about it, we've only launched our team just 6 months ago. And the amount of volume and the amount of movement and growth that we've seen is outstanding. So I really wanted to set 2015 up to be the best that I possibly could for you guys. And so I have been doing an exercise from one of Darren Hardy's programs called Design Your Best Year Ever. And I really liked it because I felt like it played right into the similar goals to what we usually write up for Beachbody New Year goals. So I put together a little presentation for you guys. But before I hop in, I just have a few notes I want to go over with you guys. I've been doing so much personal development and so much reading lately. And so I wrote down some things I wanted to go over with you guys. So I wanted to remind you guys that we're in this together. And I've signed a lot of new coaches lately that are brand new to the culture and brand new to the team. And they kind of feel like they have to grow this business alone. And I don't want you guys to ever feel like that. I want you guys to know that we are in this together. And the one thing that I have learned about this business is that it has nothing to do with talent and knowledge. It doesn't matter where you went to school, what degree you have. What really matters is your passion. This business is solely based on passion. And I think about it, when I signed up in July 2013, there was no training. There was a team page that was really new. I had a few success partners that I was talking with, and it was nothing like the team environment that we have now. And just because I had such a burning desire and a burning passion, I went out and I found the information. So all the information and the resources are out there to grow this business, but without the passion, it's going to be really hard to survive. So I tried to focus the majority of this webinar for today, for 2015, based on passion. But of course, there's going to be some tangible, actionable items that you guys can write out. So hopefully you guys have a pen and paper, because there actually are going to be some exercises that you guys will be able to do when this webinar is over to really get your mindset ready and your vision ready to kick off 2015. The second point I want to make is everything resorts back to your why. And we're also going to get into that in the presentation as well. But everything really does go 100% back to that why. Because when things get tough, or if you have to make a sacrifice, you usually weigh the opportunity of, is it worth it? I don't know. So if your why isn't strong enough of why you're a Beachbody coach and why you're on this team and why you're writing out your goals, it might be really hard for you to wrap your head around why we're setting such big goals for 2015. So everything resorts back to that why, and never forget that. So I really want you guys to make 2015 the year of you. You could be you and your family, you and your loved ones, you and maybe it's just you, yourself, and I. Make it the year of you. I've been reading a few books, and I really find that they all come back to the same point. And I don't mean this next statement in any bad way, but it's definitely a point of realization for myself, because 2014 was the year for me. Me, myself, and I learned so much, and now I just feel like this moving force, and I just want to take it to the next level. So I really like passing along everything I've learned myself. And so here's the point here. So don't get mad at me. This is just, it is what it is. You are the problem, meaning you are the solution. You're the one person that you can change the easiest. You can decide to grow. You can grow your ability. You can grow your character and your capacity. No one else can do that. So like I mentioned before, I lived my whole life in that victim role of why me? Why does this have to happen? I want this to happen. And when you focus on what you can control, meaning in this scenario, yourself, things are going to be a lot easier. Don't worry about the scenarios and the environment and the situations. It's all about you. The third point is the law of the lid. And this is from John C. Maxwell. It's one of his laws of leadership. And this is called the law of the lid, and you are the lid. So what is holding you back from your dreams becoming a reality? It's you. It's that self-limitation. And it really burns a hole in my heart and even my head sometimes when I have a coach or just a person in my life. It doesn't have to be a coach. And I just want to help them. And I'm sure we've all had this scenario. You just want to help them. You just want to say, look, just give me a chance. Come join our team. Be a part of our environment. And not only are they going to get happy and healthy and in shape, but you're going to gain so many awesome friends. When I started this journey, I had very little faith in human nature. I'll tell you that. I've been hurt many times in my life, whether it was work, love life, friends. And so I had a really hard time restoring my faith in humanity. And so I started placing all these limitations on people in general, which also caused limitations for myself. And so when you decide to break through the law of the lid, then that is when you're really going to be able to unleash your true potential. So those are the quick points that I wanted to make. So we're in this together. Everything resorts back to your why. And I want you guys to make 2015 the year of you. Because when you focus on yourself, everyone else is going to notice and they're going to say, what are you doing? Something's different about you. And I really like it. All right, guys, I'm going to kick off this presentation here. And again, hopefully all goes well. Janelle, shoot me a text message just to make sure that you guys can see this. It's going to look crazy for a second. New technology, fun stuff. Okay. Full screen mode. Might take a second, but. I know it's up there, I think, but I just got to get back to the first page. Okay. I'll just wait for Janelle's text message real quick, just to make sure you guys can see the screen. I know Janelle's typing to people as well. Sorry guys, hold on one second. Just getting used to this. All right, cool. Janelle says you guys can see. I'm excited. So I made this presentation for you guys and I sat here trying to think of what is the one thing that I can tell a new coach, a tenured coach, that has really got me to where I am today. Now, I don't mean that I'm successful in any way, but I definitely have seen success with this business. And this was at the beginning of Darren Hardy's workbook that I'm using. And I absolutely loved it because this is my answer to most people. Let me tell you the secret that has led me to my goal. My strength lies solely in my tenacity. And I've heard that from many top coaches when they're asked on the spot, what is it that has gotten you to where you are 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road? Because our first year is usually the year that allows us to get our footing and to learn everything and to really start to inspire people. So it's the second and third year that people always want to know, what is the secret? And it's true. The strength really does lie solely in the tenacity of a coach, especially a Beachbody coach. Because we often are doing all these daily disciplines, and you guys are working so hard and sharing and kicking butt in your workouts. And sometimes we still don't see the result that we want in our business. And so it really is all about that never give up mentality. That was the theme for the 2014 summit in Vegas. Everywhere it just said never give up. And I mean, I'm sure most of you guys know what tenacity means, but it's just the unwillingness to never give up. Never give up, guys. I actually wrote down a few words that I think are very powerful when you're doing a little self-reflection. And so if you can write them down, or you can just listen, whatever you want. But these are words that really stick out to me, that when a leader is stepping up to the plate in this business, they take these words into consideration when they're examining their business. So I'm just going to throw some of these words out here. Excuses, priority, change, growth, being coachable, willingness to work, your own self-discipline, empower, or so that could be empowering yourself or empowering others, confidence, and gratitude. We're going to talk about most of these things today. But those are just words that pop into my mind that I ask myself, am I leading with the best integrity that I can? Am I being loyal to my team? Am I listening to what they have to say? Am I being influential in a positive way for them? Am I driven? Am I charismatic? So all of those things tied together are really what's going to make a leader in this business. So again, just to close out with this slide, my strength lies solely in my tenacity. All right, so next, like I said, this webinar was inspired by Darren Hardy's Design Your Best Year Ever. And it's actually a 164-page workbook that I printed out. You can buy it online. And I just really wanted something to keep me on track. So this is not 164 pages worth of a webinar, don't worry. I took out what I think would apply directly to helping you guys for 2015. So I'm definitely excited. So the first point is going to be goal setting. And he talks about goal setting because there's actually a correct way and an incorrect way to set goals. And most people either say it in their head, they tell other people, or they just write them down. And they assume just because, oh, I wrote my goals down, those are going to happen this year. And we all know that's not the case. You have to be committed. You have to stay committed throughout the entire year if you really want to see these come to life. And he talks about designing your best year ever in this workbook. And he says, when the page flips on the calendar and you wake up on January 1st, that could be the day, the first day of your best year ever. We have that decision to dive right into that right away. The key, honestly, is just properly unleashing your creative power, revving up your inner drive, and channeling your focus over a sustained period. So don't look at the year as this big, long, drawn out 365 days that you have the opportunity to come back. Oh, you know, I've got some time to make the new year happen. No, wake up on January 1st and really think about, this is the first day of my best year ever, the year of you. You have to actively engage in accomplishing all your goals. And of course, you have to understand why you are setting your goals. I think that's so important. We always say the word why, right? So you have to know the why before the how. If you know why you're doing something, you'll figure out how. And I've already used this example today, but I'm going to say it again. I knew I did not want to go back to my job that I had before. I did not want to go back to the life I was living before. So I didn't care what it took. I was going to figure out how. Keith Callahan says, you're either going to survive in this business out of desperation or a combination of both. And for me, honestly, it was desperation. I felt like I was at the lowest point in my life, and that might not be the case for you. But when you have that burning why I'm doing this, you will 100% figure out how. If the why is big enough, the how is honestly easy. For me, I know that some coaches look at what I do when I work 12-hour days, 100% Beachbody, 12-hour days. I could do it every day and not take a day off because the how is easy to me because my why is worth it. It's big enough. And so some people are like, well, Colleen, I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to have to work that many hours. And to me, it doesn't feel like a drag. I honestly looked back at the calendar and I was like, wow, I hadn't taken a day off since Thanksgiving just because I love it that much. And he threw this quote in the workbook here. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. And I love that because it's exactly how I feel. He gives this awesome example. If I put a 20-foot steel 2x4 on the ground and told you to walk the length of it as a fun challenge, you would do it no problem. If I then took that 2x4 and placed it 10 stories high, bridging 2 buildings, and told you to do it, you'd probably say no way. The how is too difficult and the risk and the reason for doing it are way too small, so we probably wouldn't do it. Now, if on the roof of the second building were your 1-year-old child and the building was on fire, would you do it? Of course you would. So any how is possible if the why is big enough. Of course, that's a pretty dramatic example, but I'm all about perspective. I will look at any scenario, especially in goal setting, that extreme. Because I never did before. I never looked at goal setting and planning and dreaming and vision and mindset. I never looked at any of that until I became a coach because I saw the potential. You cannot hit a target you cannot see either. So if you don't know where you're going, you might wind up somewhere else. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. All right, now we're going to look back at 2014. And sometimes this can be painful because for me, I had to look back at 2013. And 2013 was probably one of the hardest years of my life, maybe even the end of 2012. And so there's an important process in goal setting for the next year called, or Darren Hardy calls it, plan, do, and review. So we're going to go over your past successes and your failures. And failures are okay. What were your successes? Where did you come up short? What has worked? What didn't? What was a good decision? Which ones were bad? It's important to learn that the lessons of life quickly. It's important to learn the lessons of life quickly, or you're going to repeat them. So this is something I did in the workbook. So you make a short, quick list, just bulleted. Make a short list of 10 great happenings from last year. Also, make a long list of 10 great happenings from last year. So that way you can go into more detail. And then, of course, you want to go over 5 lessons that you learned from last year. I'll give you guys some examples of the 10 great things that happened from last year. I opened up Dream Corp. I bought a brand new car. I got a new dog. I got to do my engagement photo shoot. And I rebranded my blog. Those are just some of the examples from my short list. And then some lessons I learned from last year: that I still need to learn how to budget, that I need to trust the process, or that I actually learned last year that I need to trust the process. And I also learned that I need to be patient. And so for the long list, I don't know if you guys are taking notes or not, but these are some of the examples I can give you guys for the long list. What was your biggest triumph last year? What was the smartest decision you made last year? What was the greatest lesson you learned last year? What was the biggest risk you took last year? For me, that one was really hard. I felt like I'd take a lot of risks, but I didn't know what the biggest risk was. And then if that's hard for you to answer, you might have to actually start taking more risks. What was the biggest surprise for you last year? And then I'll just give you guys one more example. One word, what one word best sums up and describes last year's experience? And for me, it was progression. I'm never going to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. But for me, it was all about progression. I can't even wrap my head around doing this workbook and looking back at 2014. It's just been such a wild year. I love this here too. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. Which brings us to our next point, which is starting in gratitude. And I started to think about people this year that have really influenced my life. You know, those really happy-go-lucky, positive people, and you kind of just look at them and you're like, wow, nothing ever bothers them. And the word gratitude for me for a long time was very icky. You know, I had good manners, please and thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. But for me, I really never took a step back and actually thought about the things I was grateful for and reminded myself of that. So in order to create abundance in your life, you must first acknowledge and appreciate the abundance you already have. If you operate from what you lack, you will continue to produce the same outcome to match exactly that. This is an everyday activity, and I often have to kick myself in the butt when I want to mope and groan and complain about something. I really still, even a year later, am trying to focus on that. Gratitude is the attitude that changes everything. So to set your creative power in motion, you have to operate from an attitude of abundance, not scarcity. A lot of new coaches come into the business and they say, but I don't have this, I don't have time, right? That's the number one thing we hear. So the very process of setting goals, deciding what you want that you don't already have, can focus your attention on what you lack versus the blessings of abundance that you already possess. Focusing solely on what you don't have turns your creative power against you. Traditional goal setting can perpetuate your focus on what you don't have, and that basically continues to create more of it. To be grateful, I love this right here. To be grateful for something is to stop resisting it. Resistance pushes away. Gratitude and abundance mindset attract more of themselves to you. That is so important in this business because I know that I appreciate this opportunity as a coach. So I have to exude that I appreciate this opportunity every day. I have to be thankful of it. And that is what I'm going to attract into my life. People that appreciate health and fitness, people that appreciate personal growth. So what are your current assets? This is part of the exercise that you'll want to do to start in gratitude. What are my current assets? People that you may know, maybe your job, your education. What experiences have you had? Maybe you have good time management skills. For me, my current assets are my vision, my speaking skills, and I'm not trying to say I'm a good speaker, but I enjoy it. My family, my current job, and I actually put my laptop on there because my laptop changed my life, basically, right? Everything I do is on there. The second question that you can ask yourself to learn how to start in gratitude, what is great in my life right now? Examples are family, friends, finances, health, resources, community. What's great about me? This is the hardest one, right? And most of you, I hate saying the word guys all the time. Most of you have read You Are a Badass. And at the end of every chapter, she teaches us how to focus on self-love. And that still is hard for me. You know, as I'm planning my wedding, I'm thinking about, am I good enough for this? Like, I feel weird getting all these gifts and my hair, my makeup, and my dress and all this stuff, but I have to stop and just say, you know what, Colleen, you're worth it. And it's really hard to tell ourselves that. So what's great about yourself? Specific skills, your personality, some passions, ambitions, desire. So after making these lists, you should be feeling blessed. You really should. It's that exact mindset and expectation that will refocus your orientation to what's possible and what you can accomplish versus what you lack and what you have failed to get this far. Like attracts like. An abundant state of mind will be the proper workshop for your inner creative genius to work its magic. People will really gravitate towards you when they see you practicing being very grateful for what you already have. Okay, so now we're going to dive a little bit further into goal setting. The first point is don't just think it, ink it. Unless you write down your goals, basically, they can get lost in the shuffle and excitement of new problems, new challenges, and decisions. You want to eliminate those outside interruptions. So don't just think about it, write it down. The second part of goal setting, this one is pretty heavy. You need to suspend reality. Don't filter, don't qualify, or judge. In the beginning, don't factor in experience, resources, or ability. Let the giant that lays dormant inside of you out to play. It's literally that, again, back to the law of the lid. Just suspend all of it and just practice thinking that anything is possible, that those positive affirmations going back and forth. Don't worry, you are not committing yourself. You're simply playing a game and scratching ink on paper. You can decide later what you really wish to do and tackle, but during this process, just let it flow. It's kind of back to that original vision board. Vision boards have been around forever. And I know that for a lot of people, when you're making your vision board, you have to suspend reality big time. Think big. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this acronym before, BHAG, but big, hairy, audacious goals. What is the one thing that makes your palms sweat a little whenever you think of it? Like, what are you envisioning for 2015 as a big, hairy, audacious goal? Number 4 is state in the positive. And I actually wrote the words wrong on the slide here. It's supposed to be state, S-T-A-T, not stay positive. Decide what you want to move towards, not away from. Focusing on your problems will only bring more of them into your life. So be conscious of phrasing that you use to define your goals. Love this one. Examples. I am at my ideal weight of X pounds by X date, instead of I want to lose 20 pounds. Or I have a positive net worth of X by X date versus I want to get out of debt. And I know that this entire year I've not practiced that just because I didn't know about it. So stating the positive. Or you can say, and the last example is, I have a loving, respectful, and intimate relationship with my wife versus I want to repair my marriage. Stating the positive. This is kind of getting into the laws of attraction, right? Step number 5 is stating in the I am. State your goals in the present first person. I am X versus I want X. So if you write a goal like, I want to be a millionaire, your creative energy will only produce exactly more of that outcome, the wanting. If you say, I am a millionaire by X date, then your creative power will go to work producing what you have declared to be. Make sure that your goals are your goals too. And this is the last point for guidelines. It's really about what you want, not what you should have. I know that when we're younger, our parents kind of guide us along the way. And not that my parents misguided me or anything, but I didn't really know I could ever go out and set my own goals. I just thought I was supposed to go with the flow and go with this. And when you start to realize that you have control of your future and your goals, I think that's really when it starts to help us build character. And especially in this business, we can't all be the same. Cookie cutter Beachbody coaches only stay cookie cutter Beachbody coaches. These have to be your goals. All right, so here are the areas of goals that we're going to set. And this is what Darren calls the wheel of life. These are the 8 areas that basically make life go round. So you want to set, in all these areas, you can write out your chart however you want. He gave us a chart, but I wasn't going to put it up here because I think you can just do whatever's going to work for you. You want to write 4 goals underneath each area. And so I'm just going to give you guys a couple examples. I'm not going to go through all of them. But for example, for business, you want to learn some new skills, maybe find a new mentor someone else. You want to become number 1 on your team. For physical, reduce sugar and caffeine, limit fatty foods, lose 25 pounds, start meditating. And for me, actually, number 3 was the hardest for physical. I might have said mental, but I meant to say physical, sorry. For step number 3, I actually still have 2 of these blank because, we're in the health and fitness business. I'm happy with where I'm at personally. And so when I saw these examples of start meditating, get a massage once a month, work with health-related books, I feel like I've done a lot of these already, but waking up earlier and meditate and de-stressing are on there for me. And I'll give you guys a couple other examples for lifestyle. So one could be maybe you need to stop smoking. I highly doubt there's a lot of smokers, but maybe you want to buy a new home, travel somewhere you've never been, take piano lessons, clean out the garage, redecorate downstairs bathroom. Just things that we kind of overlook, but could really make a difference in our life. So this is the wheel of life. The 8 areas where we need to focus on the year of you for 2015. So write out 4 areas that you want to improve. And the other thing that Darren had us do in this exercise was he had us rank them by priority. So you could do 1 through 4, whichever one's the most important. And now based on that, Next, out of all of those goals that you wrote down, you want to narrow them down to your top 10 overall goals, and you want to put a deadline to them. So I have 10 goals written out here, and I have deadlines for all of them. And so some of them are end of year, some of them are as soon as March. And then you want to go even closer than that. You want to do your top 3 goals. And maybe you have that one big, hairy, audacious, scary goal. All right, so next I want to talk about some actual Beachbody goals. And this is a good game plan that actually came from one of the corporate mentors. I was really lucky to get my hands on this quick little basic outline. It's nothing fancy, but it really helps us figure out our game plan for our Beachbody business, not just for ourselves. So you want to make sure that you write out year-long goals. You want to write out if you want to be an elite coach, if you want to be a premier coach, if you want to change your rank and your income. Then you write out quarterly goals, because these are the stepping stones to the yearly goals. So your rank, your income, how many new diamonds, how many new coaches, how many challenge groups do you want to run? Key performance indicators, we also call those KPIs. How many coaches do you want to bring on board? It could be in your downline. It could be just you yourself, your personally sponsored coaches. And then the number of invites made. So if you guys have these huge goals to really boost your business, this is like super key here. The number of invites that you guys make has to basically quadruple. These goals need to be clearly articulated. They need to be controllable. So that's what sometimes is hard, because we set all these goals, but of course it does depend on other people, right? So you want these to be controllable. How can you actually be a part of getting to work and achieving these goals? Make sure that these daily activities are aligned with your goals. I actually wanted to write on this slide for all of us to make a New Year's resolution to stop scrolling on Facebook. When we're sitting there and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, we need to cut that back, because that is not a business building activity. We could be doing so many other things during that scrolling time. Also, it's really important for you to have accountability strategy. And I know most of that, comes from working within the team and showing up to the team calls every week, or reaching out to your mentor, your upline. Plan out your year based on the goals that you set, but you need to have an accountability strategy. Just like in Beachbody, how we have challenge groups, you need to make sure you're holding yourself accountable. And then at the bottom here, it's actually going to be part of my presentation that I'm doing at Super Saturday, but the grass is greener wherever you water it. I recruited a lot of new coaches this year, and a lot of them were already comparing themselves to, well, I have kids. And then the coach that didn't have kids was comparing themselves to someone else for some other reason. The grass is not always greener on the other side. The grass is greener wherever you water it. And then we're gonna close things up here by talking about you. If you want to have more, you first have to become more. So I've focused a little bit lately on that character and that class. I really want Dream Corps to step up to the plate in 2015, because I know that we're going places. We finished number 192 out of 226,000 coaches. Now, technically that's my rank, but I would not be there if it wasn't for every single coach on this team. So I really want to show people in 2015 what we're all about. So what's the magic factor? It's you. You are what needs to be worked on, not your goal. And that is such a different perspective. When I was reading through this workbook, he calls it the you factor, the magic factor. This is the most important personal development distinction you can realize. The issue is not it, your health, your marriage, your money, your career. The issue is you. It will only be as great as you are. If you work on quote unquote it will continue to elude you. If you work on you, it will rise to the level of the new you. This is why people also who make a goal of losing weight, I use this comparison because I think it's funny that he talks about weight and health so much in this Design the Best Year Ever, and this is what we do. We help people with health and fitness. So this is why people who make a goal of losing weight, begin a diet, actually lose the weight, and then end up going back to the same or worse weight than when they started. Why does that happen? Because in the end, the weight was not the source of the problem, only the effect. That's so powerful, even though it's so simple. If you work on the effect, which is the goal, over time, it will ultimately find its way back equal to the cause. How one feels about oneself, his personal philosophy, and his attitude about what he feels he's capable and worthy of. It's pretty freaky, huh? You can only have, be, or do what is in equality with what you feel you are worthy of. So it says a lot about our character and our self-perception. You have to focus on you and understand that you are worthy of the goals that you are setting. The law of the lid again. He gives us an example of talking about like stating the I am. So the goal here is, I am earning an extra $100,000 in income this year. Question, who do I have to become to achieve this? This is very different from normal goal setting. Who do I have to become to achieve this? The answer would be, in order to hit that $100,000 goal, I am smart, confident, I'm an effective leader, I'm a master of time efficiency, I focus solely on high payoff and high productivity actions, which is why I kind of threw the Facebook scrolling in there. I wake up an hour earlier and review my priority objectives each morning. I fuel my body properly so I'm energetic and highly effective each work hour. I am influential and passionate. So you have to think about yourself like that, because if you think of yourself as someone as, well, I'm just a coach, I'm just an Emerald coach, I'm just a new coach, haven't even started my workout yet. However it is you feel about yourself, you have to shift that mindset. You first have to become more. So what's our first step here? So without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value, which is, for example, after Super Saturday, you guys have to dive right in to the goals and the experiences that you have at those events. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. So in the next 24 to 48 hours, do not delay. Decide what you can do right now. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, what will you do to put at least one of your goals into action? Creating momentum in this business is huge, especially for the new year. I think I've told most of you guys, but in December 2013, it was the only month I ever missed Success Club 10. I hit Success Club 7. And you bet your ass that it lit a fire underneath my butt, and I hit Success Club 44 in the month of January. And I don't say that to brag, but I tell you that because I decided enough is enough and I want this. I let my momentum take over. After the first 24 to 48 hours, think about the next 30 days. Identify what you need to do over the next 30 days by February 1st to put some of your goals into action. What will you do? And then, of course, we have to think about the consequence and reward. This is, again, back to self-reflection. Write what will happen if you do not stay committed and accomplish your goals. If you kind of start making that excuse of, well, I'll do it later, what's the consequence and the reward? If you guys have ever gone through a tough part in your business and kind of fallen back from consistently sharing and posting, you know that you really start to lose momentum. So there's that consequence. And we need to visualize the power of focus. Visualize yourself achieving these goals. I did that for Summit 2014. When I hit January 2013 as a brand new coach, my goal was to walk across the stage as a 1-star diamond, and I did it. I got up on that stage and I walked across it, and it was so moving to have an entire Vegas stadium rooting and cheering for you with everyone else up there. Visualize what it is that you guys want. It's so powerful when you allow yourself to kind of just let it flow like we were talking about. And then I'm going to close with this last little thing here. This was really powerful for me this year. Act as if principle. Begin to act now as you will act when your goal is reached. If you were already, and I mean, they say millionaire in this workbook, but you don't have to be a millionaire. Let's just say you were already the person by the end of 2015 that you wanted to be. How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you shake hands? And how would you enter a room? Be what you want now, and you will certainly become it. The only thing that separates the act from the reality is a few more planetary spins. I don't really like that, but that's what he says. Do the thing and you will have power. I've heard that before as well. So that wraps up our 2015 mindset and vision goal setting webinar. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I really do look forward to working with all of you one-on-one. And if you are a new coach watching this webinar, or maybe you're one of my coaches, or maybe your uplines watching too, maybe you kind of got off track a little bit. Maybe you fell behind. Maybe you're not really sure where to pick back up. We are, like, our team is so amazing and so powerful that I can't believe we've only been in existence for 6 months. The leadership and the initiative that you guys have taken on this team is absolutely outstanding. I know I tell you guys that all the time, but I'm being serious when I say that, because I talk to so many other leaders and they say, how do you get people to do this and that? And I say, I don't. They made that decision for themselves. So with that being said, I really actually need your help next year. I really need you guys to help me start leading the trainings. All the material is there, but I really need you guys to start stepping up and envisioning yourself, that act as if principle, right? Act as if you're already that 2-star diamond getting that $800, $900 bonus every quarter. Act as if whatever it is your goals are, be that person now. I'm actually going to be having an online scheduler, because my business hours right now are crazy. I basically just allow myself to be open at any time for everyone, and that obviously is not helping me in my business. So I really need you guys to start taking initiative and focusing on the things and the resources that are available to you. It's all out there. If you want it, you're going to go and get it. I know you guys will. So that wraps up everything, and I'm trying to close this here. Here we go. Oh, my hair's a mess. I really appreciate you guys coming. There was 11 of us on here today, and you can actually go back and watch this again if you guys need to, and it will be on the same link. I don't have to do anything different. So thanks for bearing with me with the technical difficulties there, and thanks, Janelle, for helping me out as well. So I hope you all have an amazing new year, whatever your plans may be. Party it out, hang out at home with the kids, whatever it is. Just really focus on the year of you. And I hope you guys have an amazing new year. Thanks, guys.